Hello everyone, we're going to work through quiz number 3 and I'm going to work all 6 problems, but it looks like it'll probably be 6 different movies in order to keep the size of each movie down. So 25 milligrams per cubic centimeters, we're going to change that into kilograms per cubic decimeter. So to begin with, you're going to I'm going to deal with the numerator first and multiply by a conversion factor that will cancel out our milligrams. So to do that, you would put milligrams on the bottom of the conversion factor, and you could put kilograms on the top, but I'm going to assume that you don't know how many milligrams are in a kilogram and go to the base unit, which would be grams. By base unit, I mean the unit without a prefix. So in the case of mass, the base unit would be grams. In the case of volume, the base unit would be liters. In the case of distance, the base unit would be meters. A unit without a prefix. Now if I solve the problem, I would have canceled milligrams, so I'd have grams and on the top and cubic centimeters on the bottom. So our next step is to get rid of grams, so we'll put grams on the bottom, and now we will put kilograms on the top. So the next step would be to start to deal with our denominator. Since cubic centimeters are on the bottom of this ratio, they need to go on the top of the ratio that we will use to cancel them. So cubic centimeters go on top, and you might not know, you could put cubic decimeters down here, but we'll assume you don't know that. We'll go to the base unit again, which would just be cubic meters. Then we now have cubic meters on the bottom, cubic centimeters are top here, and on the bottom over here, so they cancel. So what's left on the bottom is cubic meters. You of course should be writing this as you're doing it, so your units will look nicer than mine do, since I'm using a computer and they have to be on the same row. Alright, so we're going to get rid of cubic meters by putting them on top, and on the bottom we'll put cubic decimeters. So now we're ready to deal with our units. So going back to grams and milligrams, which is larger, 1 gram or 1 milligram? You should have said 1 gram. And there are 1,000 milligrams in a gram. Did you notice how quickly I knew that? You need to know that as quickly. So learn the metric system. So 1 kilogram now is how many grams? Well, which is bigger. Kilogram is bigger than a gram. That's why I put 1 there with the kilogram. And a kilogram is 1,000 grams. Now we're looking at our cubic relationships. There are 100 centimeters in a meter, but a cubic meter has 100 centimeters on one side, and that's 100 centimeters wide, and 100 centimeters tall, and 100 centimeters deep. So the volume of the cubic meter would be 1 million cubic centimeters. 100 times 100 times 100. And when we talk about cubic decimeters, 1 cubic meter, we'll keep them back on the same line, would equal 1,000 cubic decimeters. The reason for that is 1 cubic meter has 10 decimeters on the side, and 10 times 10 times 10 is 1,000. Shrink these back so we get them all on the same line. Go ahead and put my commas in, kind of clean this up a little bit. Looking for places to take out spaces so I can move my unit. There we go. All right, and then if we wanted to even further clean up our notation, we could make these cubes superscripts like they should be. And there you have the setup for problem 1. One other thing I want to point out to you is that the sig figs in this number are 3. There are 3 sig figs, so your answer should have 3 significant figures. So if we actually did the math on this, we would have, there's 1 million on top here, there's 1,000 on the bottom there, and 1,000 on the bottom there. So the million cancels out the 2,000s. I really just end up with 25 divided by 1,000, which is 0.0250. This 0 that I'm going to put in bold, needs to be there to show that that is a known digit that represents a measurement. And the units would be kilograms per meters cubed. That's the end of problem 1.